Hey everybody, Adam here. Today we're going to start work on the underlayment and structure for the maple benchtop. Let's get started. Alright, so what we're going to start doing now is installing 8-foot long strips of 3/4 inch by 3 inch plywood down on top of the cabinets, and that'll give us a structure to screw our 3/4 inch underlayment down onto across the whole bench surface. So I've got the first piece here, and this one's going to line up with the back edge of the cabinets. Pretty much just like that. And what I'm going to do is glue and then brad nail 2 brads in each one, and then I'll come back later on after the glue's dry with the Craig jig and put a screw up from the bottom in each one holding it down, and that'll give us a structure to put the subfloor or the underlayment on, and that's what we'll build the 2 1/4 maple bench on top of. So this is also to elevate the bench another 3/4 of an inch, because the verticals of the cabinets are just shy of 32 inches tall, and we want a 36-inch hot bench. So I already raised it 1.5 inches off the ground with the pressure-treated plywood. So now this will give us another 3/4 of an inch, and the 3/4 on top for the flooring should bring us to about 35 1/4 to 35 1/2, not counting the slope of the floor. So on this side of the room, it's much lower than that side of the room over there. So this actually has 2 2x4s, or 3 inches of elevation. So that's going to give us, we're at 35 1/4 to the top of the cabinet frame now. And then we're going to put another 1.5 inches of material on top of that, just with these boards and our underlayment. And then another 3/4 inch material for the flooring. So that'll bring us 36 3/4. By the time we're done, we're looking at 37 1/2 at this end of the room. Where on that end of the room is almost 2 inches lower. So, you know, there's not much you can do with an uneven floor. You just gotta make the best of it. The bench is level, square to the wall, it's plumb on the front. It'll be a nice even bench. It'll just have a little different height from one end to the other. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting these down. The angled piece here, you can see we're missing a section, and we'll get that piece of material out of what's left from the upper cabinets and the shelving units. We'll have a few 3-inch rips out of those plywood sheets. So we'll put that one in at a later time. I'm going to get going with this now. And I have all the plywood for the underlayment, so we'll get that installed. We'll probably get the 30-inch box cabinet installed, which will form the rest of the electronics bench. And yeah, that's about it for now. So keep watching. We'll get that stuff done now. So here I am putting down the first of the underlayment supports along the back section of the shop, along the long section of the bench. And then I move on to cleaning off and positioning the 30-inch base cabinet for the left end of electronics bench. I've got to level it out just like I did with all the other ones, and then drill and secure it to the wall using the Tapcon screws again. I put a string across the front of it to make sure that it was nice and square to the other half of the bench. And then I put the 3-inch underlayment supports on this half too, tying both halves of the benches together. Alright, here's a little shot of what I did in the corner here. As you can see, I extended the back edge ones over there and over there, all the way back to the corner. And I built a little brace out of some of the other pieces of wood on top of the cabinet there. Focus on that. So that'll give us something. It's not very strong, but it'll give us something to build the bench all the way back. You know, it'd be good to have for you know, power supply, or you know, maybe a speaker or something like that back on the back edge of the bench. And then over here we've got the big bench installed, the other half, and we've got the bracing on top of it there. That's what's keeping it all in alignment. And we'll use that to mount the surface on. Yeah, so we'll keep going, finish up the top of it, and then or the substructure, and then we'll put the underlayment on and get that screwed down. So now I'm installing this blocking on the vertical of each cabinet, and this will even it out across for the plywood and help prevent any dipping, you know, sagging in the plywood. So all I'm doing, I'll put some glue down underneath it. That. Just get the block on there, center it up, nail it in with the brad nailer. That's it. Move on to the next one and do that all the way down. Next, we're going to start putting down the underlayment for the flooring. That's going to be the bench surface. So we're going to start in the corner over here with a piece of plywood that's been ripped in half on the table saw. We'll get that started in the corner, and then we got a 30-inch piece that'll go on top of the bench here, and we'll get that one down next. So we'll bring it over there. We're going to have to cut it down a little bit because it's going to be a little too long. The end will fall in the middle of a cabinet. So we'll cut that off, and yeah, so we'll get this done. We'll get this area over here done, and we have one other cut in half piece. We'll probably do the tapered section over by the doorway over there with them. So let's do that now. Well, we got the plywood down here now, and it's lined up on the bench. Got a 7/8 inch overhang, which gives us 3/4 inch for our face frame, and then an 1/8 inch space for the gap of the cabinets. And then the whole bench will be outlined with a 3/4 inch maple board, so that will make it even with the 3/4 inch door panel on the front, and the whole thing will be nice and flush all the way down. So I had to put a little 1 inch thick strip. See it there. It's a 1 inch thick strip just to space it off in the back here, and I'm not sure how that last floorboard's going to end up. I'm going to try to keep it tucked up close to the wall. So we put that back there as a spacer, and if we don't need it, we can take it out later, or we leave it there. It doesn't really matter. So I got a 5-pound box of 1 5/8 coarse drywall screws, and I've had these kicking around the garage for years. I don't even know why they're still out there, but they're a little long. You know, 1 1/4, 1 3/8 would be better because we're going to 2 3/4 inch thick pieces of plywood. So they're going to poke out the bottom a little bit, but that's not that big a deal. It's going to be down inside the cabinet. So got them, don't have to buy them, so that's what we're using. We'll put some glue underneath the plywood to as we screw it down, glue it down to the cabinet frame. Once the floorboards go down, those will be glued down, as well as screwed or nailed. Haven't decided yet. So the floorboards will never come up, so there's no way to get to the screws holding the plywood down, so a little bit of glue just keep it from squeaking, you know, down the road once it starts to loosen up, if it dried out, or you know. And we'll be putting them in with our DeWalt impact gun. I love this little thing. It's a birthday present from my wife, and she loves to spoil me. So, as we're going to do now, we'll flip this up, put some glue down, start screwing it down. I'm thinking to start, probably do every foot or so, see how it sucks it down. There's a little bow, and if we need to, we'll put them every 6 inches or so. So, keep watching. Here I start bringing down the underlayment to secure to the top of the bench. So first piece to go in was 2 feet wide, or just over 2 feet wide, and I had to cut it down. It was 8 feet long to begin with, but I had to cut it down so that it fit with a nice seam for the next piece. So here I am screwing down the 30-inch deep bench part. This was an 8-foot long piece. And now on to the right side of the chop saw. So next piece is a 64-inch piece to the left of the chop saw. And then I come back to cut the bevel on the right half of the chop saw. And then just a little filler piece in the corner of the benches. Well, we got all the cabinets done now. All the underlayment is on top of the boxes, and everything's trimmed up, ready to go. So the next step will be either we'll start the face frames, or we're gonna start putting down the top. I think the top is gonna be the next thing to do, but we'll see how things go. Yeah. So thanks for watching.